What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here, and today we're going to find out, does this device actually eliminate rounding, or is it helpful at all? But before we dive in, we have to ask, how are you doing today, Caitlin? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
All right, so for those of you tuning in, you may have not seen an advertisement for this yet, but this is called the ThroForm. The ThroForm is a training tool, which is honestly, I think, really exciting for disc golf in general, that we're getting to a place where people are actually building devices that are actually designed to fix a specific issue. So ThroForm, its whole advertisement, the idea is that you take this device and you kind of clamp it, strap it, ratchet it to your arm, whatever the word is for this. And in doing so, you're going to actually have some resistance, which should, in theory, eliminate rounding. And I'll admit, just like y'all, I was pretty skeptical at first. Skeptical of not only does this product work, but am I actually coordinated enough to physically get it on my body? I don't want this to be too tight. I don't want it to be too loose. We've got it all strapped up. What is it designed to do? You'll see that it is across the back. There is a sort of clamp or a strap that's coming to the arm. The idea of rounding, or where the issue is created with rounding, I'll use my left hand to demonstrate this, is that rounding is the idea that when I go to reach back, I actually reach behind my body. So then when I twist my torso to throw the shot, you notice that my elbow has collapsed and fallen backwards. The power pocket has fully closed, and therefore my body has rotated too fast, and now my arm only has one way to generate power, and that is to come out and around. Now, we know that true rounding isn't necessarily like a terrible thing if you're more of a rotational player. Someone like Calvin or someone is still pulling the elbow through to a certain point and then firing the hand. So there's still this sort of like arc, almost like you're thinking about like if you watch someone professionally toss darts, there's an accuracy to the extension, like releasing and the dart coming out at a certain point. Same thing can happen on a rotational basis. If their elbow still gets far enough ahead, and then there is this outward push from there, but it's not happening all the way from back here, because that's going to be a really slow process of getting the arm around. So what's the ThroForm do is it's designed to create some resistance, and you can adjust these straps so that in order to reach back, if I try to collapse this pocket, I have resistance because this strap is actually pulling back. So I can't fully reach behind me. So if I want to get my hand back there, what does it do? It causes my shoulders to rotate back. And then when I bring the disc through, to answer a question that honestly even my wife had, when I throw, you'll notice that the strap alleviates the pressure, so I'm not necessarily going to injure myself in using this. So it's very interesting that it's going to cause some interesting like tension moments, but I want to see, does it actually work? Does it not work? Truly, I just kind of have so many questions, and I purchased this myself so that way I could give honest thoughts, and it wasn't like oh, they bought the spot so I have to approve it. Now, if I was an insane man and still not trying to, I mean, the issue with the elbow, people have asked, and so I wanted to give an update. How's the elbow doing? Do I feel back to full strength? It's so interesting because my forehand did not cause my elbow pain. My backhand did because of what I was doing and overstretching that tendon. But now that I've made changes to the backhand again and really started to really dial that back in, my backhand isn't causing elbow pain, but because that muscle is used on my forehand continues to agitate it. So if I wasn't trying to prep and be ready for sanctioned tournaments, then I think the smart move would be to take like a month and a half, 2 months off and just don't throw forehands and just be a backhand only player. But I'm still trying to get back into competitive events. I'm just having to be real picky and choosy with those competitive events, because if a course, like if I have to play 2 long courses back to back, that's going to cause a lot of fatigue on the elbow. And I'm really not at a point where I feel like I can play 2 pretty long competitive rounds in one day. without my elbow just feeling absolutely shot. So yeah, we're gonna warm up. What I brought is my Form Doctor bag, which is just a bunch of putters that are all designed to kind of show you exactly what you're doing wrong. So what are those putters? I'm glad you asked. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 inner cores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 polecats, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 XT Novas. We're really gonna find out. And of course we gotta do a couple throws, you know, make sure we're good. I'll be honest, guys, I'm really struggling what to do camera equipment wise because we're in some form of a phase in Alabama right now where it's like 95 degrees every day, 80 to 90% humidity. I'm trying to follow what the experts are saying and leaving my camera out for like 25-30 minutes before I even start filming, and it's just not working. So I apologize if the footage is like unwatchable. If you're a camera expert, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm not really sure what I need to do, or if I need to, for this crazy heat wave we're in, do I need to go back to using like my phone, because my phone did not seem to do this. I'm gonna throw a couple shots just so we have a vibe of how we're throwing, and then we'll dive into throwing with the ThroForm and seeing what it looks like. Trying to give these a little bit of height. They are putters, so you want to give them room to shine. There we go. We got a little turn on that one. And then Baja almost reminds me of like the Amanda show when you're like, Maha! You get it? Instead of that, it's Baja. Sick. All right, let's strap this ThroForm on and see what we can do. Okay, I realized that when I moved this up to dodge the strap coming across, that it was like flopping around, so I had to top shelf it. Top shelving in this weather for you guys. Here we go. Initial thoughts when wearing it are that it's somewhat tight around here. That's fine. I'm pretty sure, I don't know how much you can adjust this. Let's see. Yeah, there's elastic on this, so I'm sure you can somewhat adjust this. But what's interesting is I feel like this side might feel a little small and this side feels a little large. I think that versions 2.0 and 3.0, they have added like some adjustments so that you can size this accordingly. Because if you're someone with, I wouldn't say that I have small arms. I wouldn't say I have tiny arms. I would say that I have a smaller bicep area. I'm not, as they say, gifted in the muscles, but yeah, so I would say if you're smaller, or if you don't really have a defined bicep, this is gonna be a little large for you, the original version. So we're not going to, in just fear of like hurting myself, I'm gonna go slower on the first few and just see what this does. Okay. So I got a little nervous of like fully reaching back, and we just yanked it. So let's turn the shoulders. Okay, here we go, that was better. There it is. I could feel myself wanting to reach back a little bit, and I could feel the tension as this pulled. Let's try one more time. Okay, so what's interesting is you can see when I go to throw, you see how much this dropped? That shows that we kind of got the arm ahead of it. I'm gonna pull you guys to a different angle and throw a few more just to continue to build my thoughts on it, and I'll walk you through them as I see them. Whenever you're trying a new tool, or you're trying to adjust, or you're trying to change things, one of the biggest traps that people fall into, myself included, is that we want to go fast. We want to get right back up to full speed, full power, full whatever it may be, because the thought is sometimes when we make mechanical changes and we're like, oh, what if I did this? We had something that was so bad mechanically that just that little fix causes increase in distance, increase in whatever it may be. Because of that, we think to ourselves in like the form change mental trap, well, if I just saw that much of an increase going half power or a standstill, just imagine how much more I'm gonna see that if I go full power. The problem is that the disc golf form and the throw is a very fast-paced movement that's really hard to nail down. Why do you think you have the best players in the world who are like, oh yeah, my timing's a little off. I'm struggling with my timing. This idea is I want to slow down to feel the mental cues that this device is teaching me, not just put bumpers on and still. It's a great example. If I'm bowling, right? If I'm bowling and I have bumpers up, I don't want to throw like a full power bumper like ball into the bumpers. That's why they only let children use bumpers, or at least that's why they're supposed to only let children use bumpers, because we're not meant to be throwing full power at the rails. We are guiding and learning the mental cues that this is supposed to give us, which the mental cues are, boom, I feel resistance, don't reach back that far. Like this needs to be as far back as I go, and I can get more room back here by turning the shoulders. If I try to reach back here, there's tension. This is a no-no. Reach back here, boom, come through. And then I think for me, more importantly, what's the cue is, because in those first 4 throws, I felt a lot less resistance and tug back here. For me, it's when I feel this tension, get it to a point of feeling no tension before I throw the shot, and almost feel that band slip down my arm. Because if I'm not getting my elbow far enough ahead, there's still tension all the way to here. Whereas if I get the elbow ahead, I can feel that tension move off. So I want to let these mental cues kind of work with me, but in order for that to happen, I have to move slower. Like that, felt like a phenomenal throw. And if side guy like slows it down, you'll see that like when it comes through, you can see how much more my elbow actually gets ahead of me, which is nice. Let's do that one more time. Okay, so that one, we got the throw, but we actually didn't rotate the shoulders at all. So we got the elbow ahead, but we were still so turned back that while the elbow was ahead, it wasn't far enough ahead and the shoulders didn't add with it. So early release. I mean, these are great. These are going right down the middle. And the beauty of using inner cores to do this is that they're coming down and they're coming out really flat, which lets me know we're throwing normal, good shots. All right, we should have bank for our last 4. Here we go. We're gonna go baseline, and we're gonna see what I'm doing. Whenever people submit form reviews, one of the big things is I either want it like straight on the side like y'all were at, or straight behind, because that lets us know. For instance, as someone that's much less of a like full reach back raw arm, I have a lot more rotational hit in my personal throw. That's where I fall on the spectrum. It's okay for me to get back here, but what we don't want to see is we don't want to see this disc get even with my torso. It's almost straight up, comes through, it's on that line. And I think that like feeling this out, if I try to get over behind me, the tension builds up. So we're gonna listen once again to the throw form giving that feedback. Okay, too much hyzer, powerful shot, but way too much hyzer. I mean, I had to be over top of it. So let's not throw just massive hyzer bombs. And that's sort of a nice middle ground. We pulled that one a little flat, pull it a little right. Here we go. I liked that. I'll have to go back and watch this one and watch that throw specifically. That felt powerful. I felt minimal tension here and coming through on the backside. There was that early release. We had one decent, one really good one, and then we just early released it. Silly, silly man. Okay, so what are my thoughts? ThroForm. This doesn't really need to be that long of a video because really we're testing, does it give rounding? And I feel like we already tried to sneak in a couple pieces in terms of like the listen to your feedback, slow down. And these are things that you can use to change form, whether you have a ThroForm or not. So is the ThroForm worth the money? Honestly, I'm trying to remember how much it came in at. I think it was like 40 bucks, something about ghosts. That's not what we're looking for. $50. $50 for this. Do I think it's worth it? I think this is definitely a tool that if you are a form fanatic and you really want to like dive in and study form, I think this is super helpful. I think that this will give you feedback. It's interesting because what it advertises is no rounding, but like I talked about in terms of like feeling the tension release off the arm, I think is actually a really good idea in terms of letting your elbow know, have you gotten ahead on the shot to throw the shot. So that's super fascinating. Not what they're advertising, but I think helpful for both. If you're not someone who does a lot of field work, if you're not someone who does a lot of changes and you're the person who's trying to do form change by just playing a bunch of rounds, I would not suggest this, because most of the time when you're on the course, rather than trying to slow things down and actually bring in some change, there's always gonna be that temptation to score. And I think that this is gonna bring in much more of those, the full power at the bumpers type situation. And so you're gonna pull it out of your bag. It's easy to put on, but it's not the easiest thing to put on. And so because of that, I think that people are like, it's not very convenient to put on, and that's okay. And I think if you're trying to throw max power rips with it, you could end up like creating some jerk and actually do somewhat I did with the first throw of it, of I just pull it, like fully pull it over to the right, and that's not good. So maybe it's something that you go in on with like several friends. And so if you think about it, if you get 3 other friends to all go in on it and you're like, hey, let's just each spend 15 bucks on this because it's definitely usable by lots of folk. You could go out and have a fieldwork session yourself, whoever, maybe one person is the form fanatic guy, he's got the net at his house. You could have him sort of, him or her sort of hold up and like keep it at their house. Maybe they pay for half of it and you guys help them with the other half. Just a load of options out there. So yeah, I think overall, is this going to eliminate the problem of rounding? Because that's probably what the video is going to be titled. I don't know that it fully eliminates rounding, but it certainly creates moments in tension. The true issue is that what it's really like keeping is the reach back position and relativity to the shoulders. So you could be over rotating your shoulders to the point where you're like way behind because you're like, team, let's super coil. And because you're all the way back here, now my shoulders have to do so much more work to get my body in line to do that. So sure, you've created more coil, but you've also had an opportunity to throw off your timing. Personally, I think one of the biggest feedback loops is gonna be that like tension release on the arm. So I'm excited. I'm gonna be sending this video, make sure my coach sees it and seeing what he thinks about it. So yeah, really, really intrigued about this. Curious what your thoughts are. If you have purchased a ThroForm or you already have it, are you enjoying it? Are you utilizing it? Was it one of those things where you were like, hey, I used it for a little bit and then didn't really notice a difference? I'd be curious to pair it with Tech Disc and see like, do my numbers change at all? I feel like if you really have bad form and you're way off in the wild, this could be an easy way to sort of give your body immediate feedback, because there are those physical notes of, okay, I've reached back too far. Okay, I got ahead of it, sick. Like those are really good mental feedback cues, and they're physical to mental feedback cues, which is so helpful. I'm very curious. Trevor at Foundation comes from a golf background, and the golf world is filled with these types of tools, these like specific training aids. And while we have some, like we have the disc dots of the world, we have the champ caps, but those are like practice pieces. These are like actual physical pieces. I'm thinking of like my dad has like a little, it's a regular golf club grip that has like extra stuff on it to teach you a proper grip, but then there's like a weighted bar coming off that's only like that long, and so that way he can practice a swing in his house and feel that weight. What is disc golf tools, disc golf training tools like ThroForm? I love that we're branching into the market that you guys would love to see out there and see help fix. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. Really excited to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.